Yo, Eber, you know what's exciting? UPS truck. Yo, Eber, you know what's exciting?
What?
A gaming notebook under $850 that is actually worth it.
Nah, they're just pretending, man.
Well, if these guys aren't, find out why right after this. Ninja.
Cooler Master Master Keys keyboard lineup is now available in 3 sizes to fit within your space, with large, medium, and small boards with either beautiful RGB or pure white LED illumination. A little something for everyone. Make it yours with the Master Keys Pro by Cooler Master. So what's up, guys? I'm Dimitri with Canucks, and today we're reviewing or comparing two very exciting notebooks, the Dell Inspiron 15 7000, the new version, and the Acer VX 15. Let's get started. So first, let's start with the price. The Acer costs $799 and the Dell at $850 US. The difference in price is not too much, but the high price on the Dell is warranted with a better GPU and overall more elegant body, but the Acer has a few advantages up its sleeve that make it a solid alternative. And it's finally safe to say that powerful gaming notebooks are available for the mainstream because both machines feature a pretty decent i5 CPU that goes up to 3.5 gigahertz. It is not hyper-threaded, but it has 4 cores. There's 8 gigabytes of RAM that is upgradable to 32 gigabytes, and the storage is limited. That I would say is the weakest point on both computers. You can either have an SSD or a hard drive, but not a combination of both when choosing your configuration. For GPU, the Acer has a GTX 1050 and a GTX 1050 Ti on the Dell, aligning gaming performance to much more expensive units like the XP 15, but at a much lower price. The Dell machine also has a bigger battery, and both have a pretty compact battery bank too. The screen is 1080p at 60 Hz on both machines. They are matte displays, but Acer takes the win easy with an IPS panel that looks great when compared to the Dell, which is equipped with a TN panel that loses contrast and just shifts colors with any slight angle change. It's absolutely terrible, and this is the worst cost-cutting decision they've made, and choosing an IPS option is a $50 premium that is totally needed. Otherwise, the machine is not really worth it with the default garbage panel. Both machines exhibit some screen flex, but the Acer feels a little bit better with a stiffer shell, but I prefer the hinge mechanism on the Dell with smooth one-hand opening, whereas the hinge on the Acer is a bit stiffer and picks up the base when you open the screen. It's fine, but not as good as the Dell. And now let's talk about form and design between these two machines, and they look quite different, so let us know which you prefer. I definitely love the Dell more because of this beautiful red body, which is quite loud, but it's not obnoxious in any way, with very nice smooth and rubbery surface with these gray accents at the back that manages to hide finger marks very well. The ventilation ports at the rear are pretty awesome looking with nice grille design at the front as well. And overall, it's one of the prettiest gaming notebooks around that is a mix of gaming and business casual. It is also available in black, by the way. The interior is matte black that requires a little bit of cleaning after handling, but the surface finish here is cohesive with the overall exterior design. The Acer, on the other hand, feels more traditionally gaming with design, with minor red accents on the lid and with this brushed plastic, which looks okay, but it scratches easily and it also picks up finger marks, so you gotta clean that often. The exhaust fans are styled to complement a more angular structure of the whole body, and I actually don't mind the full appearance. It looks gamery, but preserved, a little bit simple too. When it comes to upgradeability, the Dell is extremely simple. One screw on the panel to access the bottom, where you have 2 RAM slots, one M.2 slot, and one empty 2.5-inch slot that you can upgrade right away for more storage capacity. It's not the most space-efficient layout, as you can see, but it works very well, and I love how you can access it without voiding your warranty. Upgrading the Acer, on the other hand, you have to remove 14 screws. That is 13 too many in order to access the dual RAM slots and the M.2 drives. So basically all the same thing as on the Dell, but here you need to request the 2.5-inch bracket and the cable from Acer in order to add your own storage in this blanket of empty space. It's inconvenient, but it's free of charge. I will leave a link in the description for that request page, but it's good that Acer recognized the error and are compensating upgrading it with this free bracket. Both keyboards are backlit with red illumination, and the slightly deeper body on the Dell gives a more comfortable typing experience with smoother edges, while it's still good on the Acer, but the edges are a little bit sharper. The keyboard differences, however, are pretty significant. Despite having a similar thickness profile, the Acer keyboard lights up the WASD area better, have excellent travel distance, and just feel awesome. When the keys bottom out, for example, there's slight softness that feels really satisfying when typing fast. The Dell keyboard in comparison is so disappointing. With less travel distance, the activation point seems to vary between the keys, and the transparent nature of the red lettering on the keys means poor visibility, and I mean really poor in well-lit spaces. The Acer keyboards wins major points here. The trackpad on the VX15 is also better with smoother surface, feels very much like glass, but the built-in buttons are not so good to use. The Dell trackpad, on the other hand, has dedicated buttons, which are great, but the surface doesn't have a nice texture for precise movements. You win some and you lose some, apparently. Port selection is decent on both machines with SD card reader, headphone/mic combo jack, 3 USB ports, Ethernet and HDMI, plus the Acer has a USB Type-C Gen 1 port that is super convenient and impressive on an $800 machine. The speaker placement is different here. Bass is not very evident on either, but the Dell is louder and offers better projection with cleaner detail. Let's have a listen. So let's now get into the bread and butter, the meat and potatoes of these two notebooks, gaming performance and general benchmarks. Now we know that Dell has a better GPU, but how does that impact frame rates and the general productivity aspect? So let's get into that. So first, for CPU tests, all of these are basically identical because they should be. They're using the same CPU. Very respectable results on a notebook at this price point. Both SSDs also perform in proximity of each other with slightly better memory result on the Dell machine. But when we get into the GPU benchmarks, this is where that better 1050 Ti really shows the full potential, and the Dell notebook distances itself quite far from Acer. The difference in performance is actually pretty significant on these frame rates, and on average, you get around 19% better score in games on a Dell for only that $50 premium. Temperatures on both machines were also very comfortable, slightly hotter on Acer, but not by much, with much quieter operation though. So both machines have fantastic cooling layout to not compromise on the acoustics. The battery life on the Dell is significantly better for work scenarios, clocking over 4 hours, thanks to that larger battery, and over an hour for gaming, which is not bad at all. And so for conclusion, this comparison between these two notebooks perfectly highlights the nature of the current notebook space, as so many elements are just inconsistent between brands. But both machines offer great value for performance with many proper elements like super easy upgradeability on the Dell, fine cooling on both, the keyboard is fantastic on the Acer, the Inspiron looks better, the VX15 has better default display, and the 1050 Ti is about 20% faster versus the GTX 1050. So both machines bring such a refresh to the market because of that sub $850 price point, and we're giving them the Harbor Canucks Damn Good Value Award because 1080p highest settings gaming is finally mainstream and achieved with affordable machines.
We have exclusive discounts for the Gram Spectrum keyboard by Tesoro. It has new agile switches, low profile keycaps, and RGB lighting. Use our promo code for $20 off on Amazon.com and $40 off for Canadians at ncx.com. Purchase links in the description below.
So that is it for this comparison. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Dmitry with Harbor Canucks. Eber, you want to say anything to the camera?
Buy the Acer, guys.
Buy the Acer.
Much better.
Do you agree with Eber? Let me know in the comments down below. Watch all this other content here, and we'll see you in the next video. Gaming always become more accessible for the Eber the light man. Eber the light man. I'm still here because, you know, we got the videos over here.